Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan claims his country has every right to conduct military operations in Syria.
When it comes to fighting threats, Turkey holds the right to conduct any operation it sees necessary in Syria or any soil that breeds terrorism. No one can restrict our right to self-defense, nor prevent us from exercising it.
The Turkish military started to shell Kurdish positions in Syria earlier this month.
No.
Erdogan has his own plans in the region, and he has his ambitions regarding Syria. He realized that these ambitions vanished due to the involvement of our Russian friends. Therefore, he is in disarray, and it seems that he is paralyzed and is making one last attempt to get at least something for himself and his government party. This is his final attempt to take something that he planned to from Syria.
Media is ignoring the fact that not only did the Turkish Air Force shoot down a Syrian fighter jet, but that Turkey did so in an area where al-Qaeda is attempting to gain control of a key northern Syrian border crossing. Well, now comes a brand new revelation. An audio recording of a phone call between high-level Turkish authorities, including the foreign minister, the head of Turkish intelligence, the undersecretary of foreign ministry, and a general. That conversation leaked on YouTube. It's also been translated into English. It appears to include statements by the head of intelligence to use al-Qaeda to create a false flag to send troops into Syria. Use al-Qaeda to create a false flag to send troops into Syria. Justification can be created, they say, to take Syrian land north of Aleppo where a tomb, Suleiman Shah, is located. Quote, an operation on ISIL has solid ground on international law. We're going to portray this as al-Qaeda. Well, later, the response from the head of Turkish intelligence, quote, now look, my commander, if there is to be justification, the justification is I send 4 men to the other side, I get them to fire 8 missiles into empty land. That's not a problem. Justification can be created, end quote. So how has Turkey responded to this supposed leak? Well, not by denying it, by blocking YouTube from the entire country. And they will punish whoever leaked this conversation. Of course, it all proves much more than that. It proves that once again, the case for war can be made through false flag operations and propaganda.
Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan claims his country has every right to conduct military operations in Syria. Well, this footage allegedly shows mortars being fired at Kurdish positions across the border in Syria. It was not only the Kurds who were targeted. Syrian army units were hit too, according to Damascus. Turkey insists it was retaliating after attacks on its border post. Syria sent its protest to the United Nations.
Heavy Turkish artillery shelled Syrian territory, including the positions of Syrian Kurds and of the Syrian Arab Army. The shelling by Turkish artillery of Syrian territory constitutes direct support of armed terrorist groups.
We're going to deal with them like we deal with the terrorists. We're going to defend our country. This is aggression. They don't have any right to interfere, politically or militarily, in Syria. This is a breach of international law, and as Syrian citizens, the only option we have is to fight and defend.
Western leaders, including top officials from America and France, have urged Turkey to stop the cross-border fire. Despite that, the United Nations Security Council failed to pass a resolution submitted by Russia calling on Ankara to halt its bombardment. The American ambassador to the UN called it, quote, Moscow's attempt to distract the world from its involvement in the Syrian war. Well, we spoke with Michael Operskalski, an expert on international affairs. He says more pressure needs to be put on Turkey.
Actually, there's very little international pressure, effectively, on Ankara. So this is giving them the impression at the moment that they could behave as they like. They are trying to dictate on Mrs. Merkel, using their weak situation because of the refugee crisis. The situation is the same in other European countries. So we are talking about a regime in Turkey that is getting more and more irrational and out of control. Anything can happen.
Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan claims his country has every right to conduct military operations in Syria.
In the discussion, head of Turkish intelligence Hakan Fidan says, quote, "I'll send 4 men from Syria if that's what it takes. I'll make up a cause of war by ordering a missile attack on Turkey. We can also prepare an attack on Suleiman Shah's tomb if necessary." So basically, Turkey's intelligence chief is saying that he's going to make up a false pretext to militarily intervene in Syria by hiring 4 men to attack his own country. So who are these 4 men he's talking about? Turkish soldiers? Well, one only has to read a little further to understand exactly who Fidan has in mind. The same group that seems to be fighting all the proxy wars in the Middle East, al-Qaeda. As the Undersecretary of the Minister of Foreign Affairs explains, we're going to portray this as al-Qaeda. There's no distress there if it's a matter regarding al-Qaeda. And if it comes to defending Suleiman Shah's tomb, that's a matter of protecting our land. The foreign minister goes on to explain how Prime Minister Erdogan is well aware of the plan, saying, quote, "Prime Minister said that in current conjecture, this attack on Suleiman Shah's tomb must be seen as an opportunity for us." Followed up by the Deputy Chief of Staff saying it's a direct cause of war. I mean, what we're going to do is a direct cause of war. Wow. See, this bombshell leak describes something known as a false flag operation. A false flag is a covert military operation designed to appear as if it were carried out by other parties and is usually used as a pretext for military intervention with the citizens of the country unaware of their government's premeditated actions.